everybody. It's springtime and people are done with kind of the spring break season, but right around the corner is summer and people are going to be going on vacations and road trips and camping trips. And I wanted to share with you kind of a packing list that we use whenever we go on a trip as a family, or just when it's Bob and I. Either way, I like to have a good list to go by. It gives me kind of peace of mind that I'm not forgetting something before we go. So come on over here and I'll show you the packing list that we use for our trips. Well, this is just a document that I do on Google, and you can see I've got everything kind of in categories here. So duffel bag and toiletry bag, those are going to be all of your personal items. So each of our family members, they'll be responsible for packing their own things in these two spots here. Now, a lot of trips that we go on, our first meal is going to be a sack lunch, and we're going to have snacks in the car. We try to minimize eating out as much as possible, so we have a snack bag. And I typically have one big container or bag that has the snacks in it for everybody. But if you have trouble with people fighting over who had how many items or whatever, how many snacks, you can always have each person pack their own snack bag, and it's easier to keep track of that way. We also will have a sack lunch, like I said, that we will, each person will pack their own sack lunch to bring along, just so we don't have to stop for fast food or whatever. Sometimes we'll go up to our church camp and help with projects up there at camp, and this is kind of why we have this category here. There's a lot of projects that go on up there, so painting and cutting down trees, carpentry, gardening, things like that. So we have this whole category here just to kind of cover those things that we might need to bring up to camp when we help out with that. This next section is camping gear. So sometimes we camp out in a family member's backyard or our own backyard, or one year we went over to a campground that has rustic sites to it. So we had to bring a lot of extra stuff. So a lot of these things were kind of stemming from that trip. So a lot of extra items that we normally wouldn't have to bring when we go camping that we did have to bring there. And then it goes on to a second page. We usually have a food box, like a large tote of some kind that we have non-perishable items in, or things that don't need refrigeration. And then we'll have a separate cooler where we'll have meats and cheeses, eggs, things like that that should be refrigerated. So kind of a couple items there, but then some blanks. Depending on what meals you're planning, you can always add and change that. Sometimes we'll bring Ember along with us, so we do have a dog stuff section here, things that we need her to have when she's with us. And the last section is kind of things to do before we leave for our trip. We usually have to, feed and water the chickens, make sure they're all set, collect any eggs right before we go. We're usually not gone for more than a couple days anyway, so they're usually all set there. Just remembering to close and lock up the house, putting away electronics, turning things off, just kind of wrapping up the house in general. Now this list can be updated, and you can kind of type your own and change it however you need to for whatever kind of trip you're going on, adding things, taking things off. I'm going to put a link in the description below so you can print off what I have here. It's not an editable kind of a document, but you can print your own and change it, or use this one if you want to. Just something to get you started if you prefer to have a list for something like that. So as always, leave comments below on what you guys like to do for something like this. If you have a packing list, or you see things on here that maybe we could benefit from adding to our list, or just general suggestions, we always like to hear from you guys. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and click the like button, and also turn on that bell down there, okay? That helps so you guys get notified when we put out new videos. So I will catch you guys later, and have a fun vacation season and a happy summer. See ya.